Happy winter to everyone in the southern hemisphere and happy summer to everyone in the northern hemisphere. It is now June, the first day of the month, so I thought I would push out a little bit of a update considering what Bitcoin looks like it is doing as the stock market prepares to open for the week and the new month. On the monthly time frame, we did close lower low in May, and currently June is a lower low as well, as this first day has been a somewhat down day, red monthly bar. We're approaching that macro 50% level, which I've actually adjusted a tiny bit as I've moved the fib tool a bit, so now it's back to where it should be, about $70,900, which you can round to 71k, give or take a bit depending on exactly what exchange you're looking at, because this is the index chart, of course. The new week is a red bar, so we could be on track to print 4 weeks down, 4 red weeks, 3 weeks lower high on the weekly BX trender, which typically means further downside. But I'm not ruling out the possibility of a bounce just because we're approaching this 50% level. On the daily time frame, I have drawn 2 additional trend lines by connecting the $60,000 capitulation low to both the 65 and the 65.7, 66k higher low. And you can see we are testing this upper trend line by connecting that 65.7 low to the 60k low right now, which lines up pretty much bang on the 50% level of this entire range from low to high. Now this is the Binance chart, of course, so depending on what exchange you're looking at, it could vary by a couple $100, a tiny bit here and there. But nonetheless, I do believe if we manage to cut through this 50% level, something like this in the next, oh whoops, I'm drawing in black, you're not going to be able to see that because I'm in dark mode. I'm going to draw in yellow now, but if we see something that looks like this, followed by a failed retest underneath that 50% level, and then further downside, we could see some accelerated selling. Now, obviously, that does not have to happen. That is just a potential idea, in my opinion. But if we do get a bounce right here, we could potentially retest this swing bottom, 72,500. Or, as I was saying in my previous videos, we could get a larger bounce that retests this diagonal downtrend line because it technically hasn't been retested yet. This was a weak retest. Now remember, resistance does not have to get retested. Sometimes a weaker bounce may mean we just get an even stronger sell-off because we have an even weaker market. On the 4-hour time frame, we have just continued to sell off, making lower and lower lows. You can see from my previous video, I'm scrolling the wrong way, we were just rejecting off the underside of the 4-hour fair value band. I think right here was when I made the video, Sunday 10 a.m. my time. You can see we sold off, made a lower high, sort of double, triple top-ish pattern. We pretty much hit that EMA bang on. You can just see that right there, the 33 EMA, and we just sold off very aggressively. And the stock market is literally grinding to new all-time highs, whilst a lot of the tech stocks are making gaps up, like CoreWeave, Microsoft. We're literally getting gaps up, whilst Bitcoin is selling off. So that tells you a lot about the state of the Bitcoin market right now. And you can just see we've hit that -1 deviation on the 1 hour and the -2 deviation on the 15-minute, meaning that at least in the next few hours, I would expect a potential pause in the trend. And we do have this little 4th time breakdown here, which isn't the cleanest setup because the third and fourth touch points are quite far apart compared to the first, second, and third. So it is potential that we rally a tiny bit, maybe depending on how you draw that line, if you want to draw it as a horizontal line rather than a diagonal line, maybe we retest, 72.6, a 1%-ish bounce in the next few hours throughout the Monday stock market session in the US, and then we keep selling off. But if buying pressure does step in right here, we could see a stronger bounce, just because it's a trend line and a 50% level. As Michael always says, when 50% levels are approached from the overside, we should expect buying pressure. But my higher time frame thesis has not changed. I do still expect something, oh my god, I'm drawing in black again. Something like this to play out, potentially, where we see a weekly bounce into a lower high before we see that final capitulation into what I believe will be the cycle low. This next move down, I think, has a very strong chance of being the bottom. And the low $50,000 to high $40,000 range, is exactly what I'm looking for. But in the meantime, I believe price action could very well trade within a bit of a range. That was a very messy line, but I do believe in the next few weeks we could see price chop between. I don't think it's going to retest the 33 fair value band again, so I believe maybe 76k at the highest, and potentially 62-ish K or 65k at the lowest, because I think once we start breaking these weekly swing bottoms, that $60,000 low will be in danger, and that will be the final capitulation. That's pretty much it from me tonight. I know it's morning for you guys over in the US, but it is absolutely bedtime for me. You can just see we do have a bit of a skew on the long-short ratio. We're getting some pickups in the 24-hour liquidation. Nothing drastic to mark, significant bottoms. We haven't hit that, $900-ish million in a 24-hour period, or like 700 million on that particular day levels just yet. So I do believe if the market does continue to sell off, it could keep selling off, because again, we've only got a 3.5% differential in the long short ratio. And remember Michael's rules, you want to see the liquidations on the long side approach that 750 million to $1 billion mark whilst the long short ratio gets out of whack. When you only get one of these signals, it often can mark a bottom, but that bottom is usually less significant than if you have both of those signals in play at the same time. Now, sentiment-wise, you can just see we do have a lot of people bullish compared to bearish. Like, retail is mad buying this dip. Like, just look at those numbers there. While smart money, on everything except OKX, is bearish. So I do believe the market is going to continue to trend down, especially with that funding rate. Like, everyone, not everyone, retail is mad buying this dip, while smart money looks like they are selling into this dip. So if we take a quick little glance at forexfactory.com, nothing major coming up this week. Obviously, we've got unemployment rate, unemployment claims, and non-farm employment change. Obviously, we've got manufacturing coming up, which will probably be out by the time this video is uploaded and you watch it. But I do believe the Friday stock market session is probably going to be the most important, and next week is probably going to be a little bit more volatile. So for now, the market looks like it has capitulated on the 15-minute time frames. We are probably going to at least bounce a tiny bit before we continue further downwards. And you can just see we do have those short max pain levels, just a couple $100 above us, or in some cases a couple $1,000 above us. I don't think we're going to hit 74.6, so I do believe maybe we retest, 73k, this 4-hour fair value band again. But I think if we were to do that, we might need to come down to these -1 standard deviation bands, so a further sell-off to maybe 70k, which would line up with a breach of this 50% level and a retest from the underside. So for now, I'm leaning more bearish than bullish, but for as long as this 50% level is holding, we've just got to respect support until it breaks. I'm obviously in a short. I want to see Bitcoin keep going down. And I think based on sentiment and what retail is doing, we are probably going to breach through this 50% level, potentially hit the 618 level, and then rebound and retest the 50% from the underside. Now, I could be wrong. This video might age terribly. In 24 hours time, we could see a massive reversal candle that retests this trend line at 76k from the underside. And then it takes maybe days before we can see price where I'm wanting to see it, underneath 70k. Who knows, maybe the stock market will print a absolutely godly day based on the way that pre-market trading is looking right now, and Bitcoin just has a huge reversal day. But either way, I believe in the next few weeks, Bitcoin is going to come down to that low 60,000 and potentially the low $50,000 range again. So whatever happens in the next few hours, you'll see it first on the shorter term timeframes, and as I'm speaking right now, we're selling off a tiny bit again. But yeah, that's all. Good night. Peace out.